Hello, just in time. Working on an experiment here. And we're trying to make personal identity. It's not that easy. There's a lot to it. It's a complicated process. We'll go over that a little bit. Okay, so to get started, first of all, I'm going to give you a roadmap of where we're going, how we're going to get there, and who I am. My name is William Lowe. I'm a graduate student. I'm not really a scientist. Okay, now that we have our concoction, it's looking a little bubbly here. What this is this is personal identity. It's a little mix of action readiness, procedural readiness. It all comes together in one big concoction of who we are, who we're going to be, who we were. Oh. No, not really. So, okay, so before we get ahead of ourselves, let's look at what is identity, what is personal identity, what is social identity. We all feel that we know we have our own identity, but what is it really? I'd ask you, what is your identity? And you might say, oh, I'm part of this club, I crochet, I'm in chess club, but that's not your identity. That's your social identity. What your personal identity is it's a little bit more decontextualized, okay? Personal identity is contextualized, meaning it's something about you're from the South, you're Gen X. Those things are contextualized, and that's your social identity, excuse me. Now your personal identity is, are you a rugged individual? Are you a smart individual? And those are more decontextualized type traits. Okay, so action readiness. What is that? Well, action readiness is the readiness to take congruent action toward attaining the goals for your desired identity, or for staying away from an undesired identity, something that you just don't want to be. Procedural readiness. Procedural readiness is the way you make sense of the world. How do you see that? How do you use identity congruent mind frame to just make sense of things? Now that we have a better understanding of what social identity is and personal identity, we can look at motivation and identity-based motivation in more of a rounded sense. Now, what does it mean? When you take action readiness and procedural readiness and you combine them two, what you're going to get is you're going to get the decisions that get you through your daily life, and how do you deal with those decisions. Now, one of the things with identity-based motivation is that the outcomes aren't always going to be positive. You don't know if they're going to be good or bad. You unconsciously make these decisions based on your environment, your past life, past experiences, your race, your age, and what social memberships you have. All right, so now you put all this together in one big jumble. What does it mean? What it means is that people have to think, and thinking is an adaptive action. And what does that mean? That means that the situation really dictates the decision you're going to make. The decision I make in front of a group of professionals is going to be different than the decision I make in front of a group of friends. Not that all my friends aren't professionals. Surround yourself with success. Okay. And the result may be good, it may be bad. The thing is that we don't make that consciously. It's done by social cues, unconsciously. Identity-based motivation also affects other areas in your life, such as academic performance or your health choices. For instance, living in Virginia, the stereotype is that meals always have a fried component. Being a Virginia resident, I know that this rings true. Just about every meal has a fried component. A big old gallon of sweet tea, packed with sugar. And these are unhealthy stereotypes that you just fall into unconsciously. You decide to have, you make choices to live a healthy lifestyle, healthy conscious choices, but you also have these environmental cues that cue unhealthy choices as well. And that also goes with academic performance. Studies show that with academic performance, you could have a very smart individual, but if they're in group, if the cool thing to do is to have poor grades, or the in group, they skip school, they don't do their homework, those are the type of actions that cue unconscious decisions. And you will actually get worse grades even though you're a smart individual, just because of identity-based motivation consequences. And it's unconscious decisions that are going to lead us into our next subject area, and that's going to be consumer behavior. Now, what is consumer behavior? Now, consumers, me, you, we all consume, and the behaviors that we make. Now, what is that? Consumer behavior means, why did I choose this tie? Why did I choose to buy this and wear this shirt? And those things are what marketing and scientists and all these big wig professionals that want your cheddar, this is all what they're trying to figure out. How can I get you to buy my thing? How can I get my shoes on your feet? How can I get you to use my pots and pans, my laundry detergent? For example, Hispanics buy laundry detergent more when the spokesperson is Hispanic. Now, that's only if they're a minority in their town. If they're not a minority in their town, that doesn't matter. So what does that mean? That means that as a marketing professional, I would look for a place with minorities, and if I was selling dishwasher detergent or laundry detergent, I would use somebody that is recognizable to them, somebody that is identity congruent to how they feel and how they identify themselves. So now what these marketing professionals do is they're going to take all these numbers, they're going to take this data, they're going to take surveys, they're going to grab it from here, they're going to grab it from there, and they're going to crunch all this down into information. And what this information is this is you. This is who you are. This is how you identify yourself. And they want to figure out how to make you buy their product. Do you identify as a middle-aged white male like myself? Are you a young African-American female? They're going to take those things and they're going to figure out, what is it that she wants to wear? What is it that he wants to wear? What do they want to eat? What do they snack on when they're bored? They take all this data meta-analysis, and they come up with an advertisement. And that advertisement calls to you. When you see it, it says, I need that jacket. I need it. It says it's about me. It says who I am. And that's all on data. And that's all based off of identity-based motivation, because they know what motivates you. They know what's salient. They know what's detrimental to your thoughts. They know what's going to bring you joy, what's going to make you angry. And the point of this is that our personal identities, they are dynamic, they are fluid, but they are predictable. All right, so let me bring you to my conclusion. We've covered identity-based motivation, action readiness, procedural readiness, and how those two combine to make your self-identity, how that affects your social identity, and how some of our decisions are unconscious. And now it's marketing professionals that use those unconscious cues to sell us products. That's why I really wanted this shirt, and I really just had to have this tie, because of unconscious cues. So I'd like to take this moment to thank Dr. Difana Oyserman for her article in the Journal of Consumer Behavior. And the article is Identity-Based Motivation, Action Readiness, Procedural Readiness, and Consumer Behavior. Thank you very much, and I'll field any questions.